power of the underground.
In my last video, The Mysterious Receding Seas, Part 6, I related a graphic example of the receding sea on the coast of New Jersey. The video showed how the state of New Jersey was selling coastal lands left behind by the receding sea. The prime sea frontage is being snapped up by casino and hotel developers as fast as it is deserted by the sea. My last video also showed how and why the salt marshes in Jamaica Bay, New York were disappearing. Now, in order to understand receding seas, we have to look at the bigger and broader picture. We all know the Bible story of Noah and the ark. In the book of Genesis, God instructed Noah to build an ark to save himself, his family, and all the animal species when the great flood came. Noah obeyed God, built the ark, and survived the great flood. He and his family were the only people left to repopulate the earth. The flood covered the entire world, the Bible tells us. When the flood subsided, Noah's ark came to rest on the tallest mountaintop, and that is perfectly logical. For if the earth was covered completely with water and the waters subsided gradually, the first piece of land to appear would be obviously a mountain top. This mountain top has been identified as Mount Ararat in today's Turkey. It is also quite logical that Ararat was the actual mountain, as I will show. It is a long way from the shoreline of New Jersey to the top of Mount Ararat in Turkey. However, there is a direct connection between the story of Noah on Mount Ararat and receding seas in New Jersey. So let us move on. When Noah stepped out of the ark on the top of Mount Ararat, the Lord instructed him to go forth and multiply. He was accompanied by his wife and 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their sons. As time passed, Noah died, but the family continued to multiply as the Lord had ordained. Noah's great-grandson Nimrod established the city of Nineveh on the Tigris River in what we know as Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia means between the rivers being the Tigris and Euphrates. These 2 rivers rise in the highlands of what we know today as Iraq. Now follow me closely. Nineveh was the capital of ancient Assyria. Noah is hailed as the father of the Assyrian nation. Historians tell us that Nineveh is the oldest city in Assyria. What historians omit to tell us is that not only is Nineveh the oldest in Assyria, it is the oldest city in all of Mesopotamia. The reason for this is that all the other cities established on the Tigris and Euphrates rivers were established one after the other in a downward progression. In other words, Nineveh was the first city established, and all the other cities were established going downward as the sea receded. Now, I'm sure you will be surprised to hear this, but it is a fact. The Bible tells us all this so you can read it for yourselves. But then there's more. Abram was born in the city of Ur of the Chaldees, which was established on the Euphrates River in Mesopotamia. Abram is hailed as the father of the Jewish nation. When he was born, Ur was a busy seaport on the Persian Gulf. Today, however, Ur is 200 miles from the Gulf and 135 feet above sea level. 4 years ago, U.S. forces invaded Iraq and fought inland for a month to get to the city of Baghdad. In ancient times, Baghdad was a harbor on the Persian Gulf, but today, Baghdad is 350 miles from the Gulf and 125 feet above sea level. So if we look again at Nineveh, Nineveh is 500 miles from the sea today. In biblical times, Jonah the prophet lived in Nineveh and is also buried there. Again from the Bible, we know the story of Jonah being swallowed by a whale and living for 3 days in the belly of the whale. Well, we have to assume that Jonah did not walk 500 miles to be swallowed by a whale. The sea must have been very close to Nineveh in those ancient times. At any rate, boats are being uncovered from time to time by archaeologists far inland and far away from the Persian Gulf. Boats have been discovered as far inland as the city of Ashur in Iraq. Ashur is 200 miles from Nineveh and was perhaps the first city built after Nineveh in the downward progression. The fact that boats were found there bears testimony that seas were much higher at that time in history. At any rate, we know that the sea was higher worldwide because it once covered the North American continent. So the connection between Ararat and New Jersey is the receding seas. The sea has been receding ever since those biblical times, and it still recedes today, and it will continue to recede for a long time to come. It will definitely not rise. Please watch our new video, part 7 of the Mysterious Receding Seas, which will be coming soon. In my next video, I'll be telling you about the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt and what part receding seas played in their escape. Receding seas affects all aspects of our lives. I am Richard Guy.